Hello and welcome back to wearefree.tv, the channel of the people, by the people, for the people. The channel where we interview different people from around the world about various subjects that are all alternative, different, unusual, anything from quantum physics to spirituality, including channeling and high vibration, fifth dimension, all kind of modalities for body and mind healing of different sorts, and anything which you won't hear on mainstream media, you will hear and listen and see on wearefree.tv. I'd like to thank people who have donated. Very kind of you. If you wish to donate, the information is up here. Also, we have a Telegram channel called No Censorship TV, as you can see down here. Highly recommended that you join the channel or the group, and then every time we upload a video, we send a link to it there. Also, if you don't have Telegram, you can just go to our website, wearefree.tv, and then click on join and enter your email and name, and you'll be added to our mailing list and receive a link to every video by email. Also, it'd be great if you could share this interview wherever you possibly can, on your Facebook, on your TikTok, on your Instagram, send it by email to your friends, send it on LinkedIn, Twitter, etc. Thank you very much. And today, our interview is going to be very interesting indeed. My guest is Stephen Paul, and he is a face reading expert. The name of the interview is Face Reading Benefits. We're going to talk about face reading, muscle movement, personality, learning face reading, and other interesting subjects. So, hello there, Stephen. How are you today?
Hello, Michael. I'm very well, thank you. And thank you for your invitation to come on your show. I've been looking forward to it.
Thank you very much. Thank you for agreeing. So perhaps before we start with the face reading and everything, maybe you could give us a brief background about yourself.
Okay. I've been learning face reading, and I say learning, for 27 years. So it's been a big part of my life. It has taken me into different countries and different cultures. Having been raised in London, of course, I was in a very multicultural society. So my learning process was in a really good foundation for understanding different cultures and different personalities as well within those cultures. So the more I was using the face reading, the more I was beginning to understand how we all react differently and how we see things differently. And then that creates such a big interest for me as well, because I can see how people have unusual disagreements, really, for the most unusual reasons, and they don't realize it's their personalities that are actually coming into play. It's not anything else. It's just the way that they speak to one another, and the way that they listen, and the way that they look at one another, and the way that they sense one another as well.
Do you have examples?
Yeah, sure. For instance, working in communities like, let's just say, when I was working with maybe the Indian community, the way that they express themselves is yes, that's yes, that's no. And of course, these types of things that you have to get used to, but also they're very passionate about something, and they tend to raise their voice and shout sometimes. And that, of course, for someone coming from the British culture, it's not done. And of course, then once you understand that and you can see it on the face, you understand from the face that there's no aggression. It's just the culture that does it. And then, of course, once you start, the more I learned, the more I was reading, the easier it became and the less offended that I became, until you get to a point where the understanding is so important. But then you can see that in all different cultures as well. But it's good fun. It's been really a good fun journey as well.
I bet. And how about in the same culture? Like, could an English person make a certain face which is particular, to that person, and it be misunderstood by his friends or colleagues or anyone else?
Most definitely, because the British have a very sort of, let's just say, unique sense of humour. So in that sense of humour, they will make a comment which to another culture would be offensive in actual fact. But to an English person, of course, and when you can see that we use a lot of sarcastic wit in our conversations, that can be offensive as well. So the misunderstandings are there, and yet it's not personal. It's just cultural. These misunderstandings are cultural.
What about something which is not cultural? For example, it doesn't matter. A German person meets a German person, or an English person meets an English person, and this English person, for some reason, goes like this. It's like,
yeah.
He has this thing, he does that, and he doesn't know. He's trying to concentrate because he doesn't see very well, but it comes across like, what, mate, what do you want?
Yes, exactly. And that you see, the thing is when I'm looking at a face, I'm seeing the muscles, and I understand what has created that personality to become like that. So what you've just spoken about is someone that has what we call aggression, but he's not violent. He's just aggressive in his thoughts, because that's the way he's been risen. That's the way that he's been taught to behave towards maybe another family or maybe another culture. So what happens is those misunderstandings become literally bigger than what they are. For another example, like with yourself, if I shout at you, you will find it offensive. Okay?
Yeah.
That's just because I'm looking at the size of your ears and the way that your ears are shaped as well. Okay? If I'm firm with you, that's okay, but as long as I don't shout. Now, you must have colleagues or people that do shout at you, and then you find that quite offensive. But you can't react to it because you think, this is an aunt or an uncle, or it's a relative or someone new that I know. They don't understand that you are finding it offensive that they are shouting at you. Okay? Why? It's only because I need to explain to you, Michael, what I want, not slowly. I just have to repeat it 2 or 3 times, because that's the way you take information in. You need details, and you need those details confirmed. Yep. If I just shout at you and say, just listen now, that's not good for you. You'll find that offensive. You'll find that quite,
Okay. So what about the facial expressions of the person?
Expressions, you don't, with the style of physiognomy that I've studied, it's all about the shape of the feature. Now, the feature is shaped by numerous expressions. Okay, so it's like your face is going to the gym every day. You just keep making expression, and then it shapes your muscle. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
I'm reading the conclusion of all of those expressions.
Okay.
So for me, it's easy. I can look at you and I can say, literally, if I don't give you details, Michael, you will find it very difficult to make a decision. Why am I saying that? Because the way that you express your eyebrows in a certain way when you're making a decision, I know that you're looking for details. So I don't have to watch your expression. I can just have the face in front of me, clear, open, and it doesn't matter. The expression doesn't make any difference to me. I don't allow the expression to do that.
Okay, so it's basically the size of the nose, the size of the eyebrows, the thickness of them, the length of the hair.
Yeah,
not the hair.
The shape of the eyes, the shape of the ears, the shape of the nose, your forehead, your lips, your jaw, your chin, cheeks, neck. Everything is involved. Everything is, and then so to understand somebody, no one feature actually makes the personality. It's a combination of features that makes the personality. But you have to start to learn somewhere. So when we are teaching, we have to break those features down to enable someone to start to learn at that sort of what we call the alphabet level, because what we say is this is the facial alphabet. So it's like learning each letter. Once you've got each letter, then what you're doing is you're progressing, and then you can learn to read a sentence, put the letters together, make a word, then read the sentence, and then eventually it's like a book that's in front of you. So,
Okay.
because, yeah, the face never lies.
So what's the purpose of this? I mean, do people come to you?
The purpose is people come to me for readings and to learn because they really truly want to discover themselves. They want to discover, you know, why are my ears smaller than my brother's ears? Why am I finding it very difficult to concentrate on certain types of music and the rest of my family are not? I mean, these are simple questions, and then they come for more profound questions. You know, some people come and they say things like, "I'm not sure what I believe in. I'm not sure how I feel about certain parts of my emotional life. I'm not sure how I feel about my work life." All of that is written on the face. All of that is in the personality. And then what we do is we reveal to them their personality and then the reasons why it happened, what created this to happen.
Can we have a real life example? Someone who came to you and he said that, and he said, well, I can see that your nose is shaped like that, which means that you've been abused as a child and you shouldn't be doing this, you should be doing that.
Absolutely. I mean, one recently was someone came to me and said, I really find it irritating that my wife is screaming at me. And I said, and I knew his wife as well. So I said, you're sure she's screaming at you? Well, no, she's not loud. And I said, no, it's the pitch of her voice. Yes, that's it. It's the pitch of her voice. It's the tone. It irritates me. And I said to him, so when you was a child, who raised you? And he said, oh, it was my grandmother. And I said, can you remember your grandmother's voice? Yes. And I said, do you not remember her screaming at you and shouting at you to get things done? Don't be lazy. Oh, yeah, she was doing that all of the time. So I said, now, when your wife uses a similar tone, what you are doing is going back to your childhood with a female voice, and what you are doing is it's irritating you because your grandmother irritated you because she was telling you, go and do some work, don't be lazy. So you're expecting your wife to say that, but is she saying that? No, she's not saying that, but it's just the tone. So I said, you are preparing yourself for her to say that. Yes, that's exactly what I'm doing. So he then recognized where it came from. And then in that recognition, he said, actually, she's not that bad. She really isn't that bad. When I consider it, it's not that bad.
Yeah. Did you see something on his face, though?
Yes, it is. The way the ears are shaped. The way that, because like if we took a picture of your ears, Michael, one of your ears would be definitely very different to the other. Because your right hand ear is your logical ear, okay? Your left hand ear is your emotional ear, okay? So his emotional ear was shaped so differently from his logical ear. So I knew then that it was the emotional attacks that he thought they were affecting him. And then he realized that it wasn't, his wife wasn't attacking him. It was just, he was irritated by the way that he was catching the sound. And then the sound then sent a memory into the emotions, and then the emotions were ready and prepared for a fight as
I
such,
see.
really. So, yeah, and that's what happens. And that's not, I mean, that's just a simple example.
So perhaps we could look at, like, go feature by feature, or not feature. Let's say,
Yeah.
what does the what do the eyebrows tell you in general?
All the eyebrows in general tell you about how you make decisions. Now, you think you're making decisions, but up until you're about 7 years of age, actually, you're not making any decisions. Your parents are making the decisions for you. So as you become older, you have got used to taking decisions in the way that your parents have made those decisions for you as a child. I'll give you an example. The parent goes to a child and says, "What would you like to eat today? Would you like a hot dog or would you like a hamburger?" The child thinks, "Wow, I can choose. I can choose between a hot dog or a hamburger." It's not actually a choice. It suits the parent on that day to offer either a hot dog or a hamburger. So the child thinks that it's making a decision when it's not. It's just being given a very simple choice.
Yeah.
Now, as we get older, those preset ideas come into our decision-making processes. So we convince ourselves that we're making decisions, but actually they are already preconceived, these decisions. So, for instance, if you don't mind, I'll show you. Your eyebrows are shaped differently. Your right-hand eyebrow is shaped differently to your left-hand eyebrow. Your right-hand eyebrow has a lift on this point here. That's your logic, yeah?
Okay.
That's it. If you look at your left-hand eyebrow, it just smoothly goes around.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay? So I know that in your logical life, you are making decisions on a daily basis. In your emotional life, you're just following the rules that you would follow. So one is work, one is home. So the decisions are different. Plus, you need lots of details to make those decisions as well.
How do you know that?
Because there's a big gap between your eyebrows. There's a gap here between the eyebrows. So when you're a child, when you're born, some children are born with the eyebrow linked together here. They don't need so much detail.
Okay, moving on.
And it's here. It's there. So okay. So for you, okay. So let's look at, say, your nose, for instance. Yeah. You see at the top here, there's a thickness.
Yeah.
Okay. But then as it comes down, it gets thinner.
Yeah.
Okay. So that just means that in your thought processes, you have an aggression in your thought processes. Now, aggression doesn't mean to say that you're going to hurt someone. It just means that you're prepared for something and you fight your battle. You fight your corner in your thoughts.
Very true.
Have to do that.
Very, very true. Spot on. Unbelievable.
Okay. So, but you are not going to go out and hit somebody because you're not violent.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You're not going to go out and start fighting on the streets because you have these types of ideas. Okay. Also, from the shapes of your eyes, you have, I would say that you are what we call free-spirited as well. Okay. You don't get jealous over things.
No.
Okay. You don't. You let things go. Okay. Why? Because you found it's much easier to do that. And that means that you really don't understand why people get jealous.
Yeah.
So you're free-spirited, you go out, you have fun. Then someone who is jealous says, "Why are you doing this?
What can you see? What can you see in my eyes that's telling you that?
It's the shape.
My very Jewish eyes, as you can see.
You're very Jewish, that they are, but also, okay. Let's look at the size of your coloured part, your iris. Okay. Yeah. It's very big. Your irises are big.
Okay.
You cannot hold back information, Michael.
No, I just
really,
no secrets.
Really. There's no secrets with you.
Like ridiculous. So sometimes I shock myself.
Exactly. Now, the reason for that was because probably as a child you was told maybe your grandmother is coming over for lunch. She's had a new hair color put in. Don't mention the hair color. She comes through the door. The first thing you do is go, "Oh, grandmother, I like your blue hair." You know, it's that time. You've never been able to do that. It's because you are open-hearted. Basically,
And
you're
I'm
open-hearted,
tactless, like my
and
mother, bless her heart.
you. Yes, yes. Well, yes, you are. It's not because you want to hurt anyone. It's
No.
because that's your personality.
Yep.
Okay. And then you see your cheeks that are raised up high here. Okay. That means that you love life. You have a joy of life. But you cannot understand why people want to fight with one another. It makes no sense to you
Absolutely
at
no
all.
sense. What? And I live in
Okay.
Israel, and I love
And you live in
Arabs.
Israel.
I love them.
Yes.
I can't wait to
Yes.
go to Syria and to Iraq and to eat hummus and falafels with my brothers and sisters, the Arabs, who I
Yes.
love so much, and can't understand
Yes.
why would anyone hate them or anyone else hate anyone else. It's just
No,
ridiculous.
no, no. No, I know. It's so to you, it's like, so a part of your, let's just say, and I'm going to the forehead now,
Yep.
okay? There is a part of your forehead that tells me that the spiritual side of your life is very important,
Oh yes.
okay? It's very, very important. However, it's still going on a journey of discovery. It's still every day you are going on a journey of discovery. You are looking to find the reason why we behave like we do. You're trying to find the reason why.
What can you see?
Right
Where?
at the top, just at the top here. There's like there's a raised bump at the top here. Okay.
Oh, you can really see like a
Yeah. Okay. It's just I've got
like an
through
X-ray machine.
years. And so now, if I take that, okay, then I take the details that you need, and then the width of your chin means that you are extremely determined. Okay, so basically, no one's going to stop you going on this journey. It's fruitless. Anyone trying to stop you going on this journey is fruitless. It doesn't make any sense to try and stop you. And plus, you're free spirited as well. So you'll go anywhere and meet anybody in, let's just say, discovering the true you, discovering your true self.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Amazing. Absolutely amazing. Everything you've said. What about the mouth? The mouth.
The mouth. Actually, I mean, I have worked a lot with Jewish people in the past, and I must say that your mouth isn't typical of what I would call the Jewish mouth, because if you'll notice, your mouth is pushed in a little bit. So for a long time, you were silent. You didn't actually voice your opinions.
Yep.
Okay. It's only in the last maybe 10 years that you've got used to voicing what you feel and voicing what you want to do. That's really important to you now. But before, you were shy. You were a shy person. You still have a shyness in your personality, but you've pushed it away. You've overcome it.
What about the teeth?
The teeth? Well, I mean, let's not be unkind to you.
Please do.
But no, one of the things that let's just say that you are in your environment, for instance, you are, let's just say, you are organized in your environment, but you're very disorganized in your thought processes. Okay, your thought processes jump all over the place.
Yeah.
So to compensate for that, you have to make sure everything in your environment is as much in place as possible. Now, I'm not talking about, cleanliness or anything like that. I'm talking about your paperwork has to be in place for you to remember things, because your memory sometimes fails you.
I have a to-do list. I have a detailed to-do list. If I don't write it down, it's never going to get done. But if I do, it will definitely get done.
Yes, absolutely.
And I do. I write everything down.
Yeah, that's how you've learned to deal with your memory. The reason that your memory is like that is because you are so intrigued by what you see that your mind goes off into all different sort of directions, thinking, "Oh, I'd like to know that. I'd like to know that. I'd like to know
And
that."
you can see that
So
in my teeth?
that's from the way. No, that I can see that from your forehead, okay, and your eyes, and also a part at the top part of your forehead as well,
Okay.
because you, as a child, you had lots of what we would call dreams. Okay, you had lots of dreams. Yeah,
Yeah.
you still have those dreams now, but those dreams are in the daytime. So you don't have to wait until the night time to have the dreams. Your dreams are in the daytime, but that's a part of your personality which will be, let's just say, more success for you because you're determined for those dreams to come true.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So have we finished everything? What about this part here? I don't know.
That part there is you. You've mentioned about the Jewish style.
Yeah.
Now, Jewish people are usually very, very direct. That's the way that they are.
Yeah.
But you are not like that. You are someone that likes to go around. You're not going to call someone an idiot. You're just going to say to them, look, have you considered what you're saying? Have you considered how you're saying it? It does sound a little bit stupid. You're not just going to say to someone, you're an idiot. It's not in your personality to say
But
that.
not many people would do that. It's the minority who would do that.
It's the minority. Yeah, definitely. Yes.
Okay.
Also, when it comes to, let's say, food, for instance,
Yes.
you go off and on the food. You're not what we would call a foodie. Sometimes you love it, and then you have periods where you don't like the food. I'm not saying you don't like it. It's not a priority to you.
Yes. Okay. Amazing. What can I say? I mean, you've been spot on. I'd say 95% of the things you've said. I just want to talk about the Jewish face a moment. I was raised in Israel. I mean, I was born in London. Yes. I came to Israel when I was like 5 years old, and then I grew up in Israel. And in Israel, there's no anti-Semitism. Like, it's like the only place on earth where there is no anti-Semitism because we're all bloody Jews here. You know what I mean? So they can't be. Yeah. And if anything, if there is and also prejudice and racism, there's no racism against Jews. If anything, the Jews are the racists in Israel. So we were never told that there's such a thing as a Jewish face. In school in Israel, nobody said that to us. And then I went to Russia when I was like 25, and everybody knew I was Jewish. Like, the Russians can spot a Jew a mile away. And I told my mom, I remember calling my mom and said, Mom, can you believe it? The Russians know I'm Jewish. And she was like, really? And now I know that, like, my face is a typical Jewish face. You know what I mean? I have Jew written all over me because, there is a Jewish look. And I remember I told my friends and they couldn't believe me because, in England, perhaps if you tell a Jew that there is a Jewish look, they'll believe you because they know it. But in Israel, we're so naive, Unbelievable. Like the eyes, the eyes kind of pop out. That's very Jewish. And the eyes are kind of a bit kind of sunk.
Absolutely. I'll tell you why that is. Yeah. Okay. Because most Jewish people are extroverts. Okay. So you talk about everything. Everything comes out. So the eyes bulge when they're doing that. But then when this comes down, it's the guilt. It's all about feeling guilty as well. So that is all on the face. It's all on the face. And people say, and so what are they going to do? They're going to talk about their guilt.
Yeah.
They're going to express it. So, and that's easy to see in somebody.
And the nose? What about the Jewish nose?
The Jewish nose, well, the Semitic nose, as they say, which is like more like yours is not typical. Yours is not a typical Semitic nose, but the nose that comes up and comes in, it's a trader's nose. Jewish people and Arabs as well are traders. That's what they do.
Yeah,
they trade. So it's all about understanding the world through trade, because that's what they've learned. That's how they've learned to survive.
Yeah.
And then some people are more traders than others, and you'll be able to see that on the nose. With you, It's about learning to, let's just say, it's not about making money with you, Michael. It's about keeping money. You're not good at keeping money. You're not good at, let's just say, organizing it. Why? Because you're generous, you give, and you like to enjoy your life as well.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm saying your nose is slightly different. Okay.
Yeah, I see. Wow, amazing. So, how about if you like had to read a face of a Chinese person? You know, somebody. Is it different?
No. You see, the great thing about face reading is this: the facial muscle mechanisms of all human beings in the world is exactly the same. So, and our emotional responses are exactly the same. So, if we get upset or angry, we pull the same muscles. If we want to make money, we pull the same muscles. So it's no different. The only difference between, let's just say, the Chinese and, let's say, the British people, for instance, okay? The main thing with the Chinese is that most people think that the eyes are like small eyes, but they're not. It's not. It's a covering that comes down here. Any nation in the world where they come from what we would say a high wind area, genetically, this cover has come on the eyes, but the shape of the eyes is exactly the same, depending on the personality. So I've read Chinese people, I've read Arabs, I've read Jews, I've read Americans, Canadians, Swedes, French, Italian, Spanish. It's all exactly the same. It makes no difference, because if we smile in China and we smile in England and we smile in Israel, we use the same muscles. Yeah. Exactly the same muscles.
Who would want to learn this? I mean, I understand you are like a therapist, so people come to you to get a reading, and then you can help them, you know, change their lives in different ways. We'll talk about it in a moment. But what about like businessmen or women who go on dates and they want to kind of suss out the guy before they actually jump into bed with him or God knows what?
Yeah, absolutely. You see, the number of people that come and say, "Oh, I've made another mistake with choosing the wrong man," or a man comes and says, "I've made another mistake choosing the wrong woman," and then you say, "Right, okay, what are you looking for?" And they tell me what they're looking for. And I say, "Okay, have you got photographs of who you have chosen?" And of course, what they're doing is they're choosing the wrong personality for what they are looking for, and also the wrong personality for themselves to communicate with. Like, they want someone who's open-minded and gentle and soft, and then they pick someone who is narrow-minded, focused, aggressive, because they like that look initially, and then they get shocked and surprised afterwards, and they say, "Well, he or she turned out to be an absolute nightmare. I wasn't looking for that." And but once you get them to realize the mistake that they've made, or maybe not a mistake, they've gone through an experience, and then they're willing to listen. I don't like using the word mistake, because we see it as a failure. It's not a failure. It's only a part of life's process.
There are no mistakes. But I'd say
there are no mistakes.
Someone who goes for looks definitely needs to learn face reading, because they go for looks. Yes, if they didn't go for looks, at least, you know, they could give a chance to anyone, and, you know, they have a better chance. But if they go for looks, they're screwed, because they might be seeing something which is the opposite of what they prefer.
Absolutely, yes. And they don't understand what they're looking at, and they don't understand why they're looking at this type of personality. It's just that the media has said, this is what is representative of the beauty today. And of course, what happens is that people get apps, and then they beautify themselves, and then they do all of these other wonderful things to their faces. And then, of course, when the person meets them in real life, they sort of say, "Wow, God, where's your brother or where's your sister? That's not who I saw on the telephone." You know, it's they get shocked. They get shocked by who they meet in real life.
How about plastic surgery? Like, could you read Michael Jackson's face?
Absolutely, because what people
There's
do
nothing there.
is yeah, but you see, for you there's nothing there. For me, there's a whole
No, I mean
story.
it's all
Because,
covered with Botox and surgery and
yeah,
everything. It's not even him
but
anymore.
if you understand where the surgery is done and why it's done, and then you can see the pain and the hurt behind the personality to do that. And what most people don't realize is that you have plastic surgery done, and plastic surgeons are going to hate me for this, but they don't give, let's just say, counseling for the new personality. So the muscles are going to be behaving in exactly the same way they used to. So within 1 year, 18 months, the surgery is no longer there. It's gone back because the muscles have ripped off what's happened. It's gone back to the way it was before. So people go back again and again and again to have plastic surgery. It's like, it's what people are doing at the moment. They're having their lips plumped up. They're having, Botox and all of these other things. And all it's doing is making the muscle not work the way it used to. But once it wears down, then the muscle works the same way again, and then the personality changes back again.
I see. Okay, what about past? I mean, the future or past of a person, can you tell by their face?
Everything that has happened in someone's past, you can tell. You can tell. Everything that is present, you can tell. Now,
What do you mean everything? Everything?
Everything. I mean, I did a reading a couple of days ago, and I expressed to someone that when they was 4 years of age, something happened to them, and they was absolutely shocked and said, "Yes, that's true."
You mean like major things, like marriage, divorce, abuse, things like that? Okay,
yes, it's
not like I bought a salad yesterday in Starbucks.
No, nothing like that. No, it's not fortune telling. It really is face reading. But everything that has had an impact on you in your life, yes, you can see on the face.
I see.
But you see, the thing is you can tell the past, you can tell the present. Now, the future, you can make a prediction because human beings follow patterns. However, life sometimes brings surprises. So, outside events we don't control. So all of a sudden you win the lottery. Wow, fantastic. You change. Or, what happens most times if people are given bad news about their health, immediately they change. So that outside event you cannot control. What you can control is how you react to that event. If you panic, if you go into free fall, then that event becomes overwhelming. But if you see it in a different way, if you look at it from a different viewpoint, it could be an opportunity for a great change.
Yeah.
So it's all the perspective at the time. But people really want someone else to tell them their future because it's hard work sometimes for people. It is genuinely hard work. Yeah. So past, you can tell everything, and present, you can see what's happening. Future, yes, you can predict, but it is only a prediction.
Yeah.
It is only a prediction.
And what about present? Yeah. Like you could say, like, I see you're going through a divorce now, or I see that your son died, God forbid, or something like that.
You can. All of those things are shown on the face. Because
just in a quick example, I mean, if let's say a loved one would have died, what would you see on my face?
You would see a darkness around the joy of life as well, and then a little bit of pessimism around the lips, and the eyes would reflect it. The eyes sink in a little bit as well, which leaves a slight darkness around the eyes.
What about if I was in love? If I was madly in love?
If you're madly in love, then the eyes sparkle, and you will find that the forehead sparkles as well. When I say sparkle, I'm not saying it goes ding, 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 ding. No, there's a brightness that happens to it. Okay? So with yourself, definitely there is a brightness on your forehead at the moment. So your ideas and your cheeks are you can see the cheeks are very bright and they're up and that. So yes, that is prevalent in your life at the moment. So your love is, let's just say, it's making you happy. It's giving you ideas. It's making you look forward to the future as well.
Amazing.
And your eyes are bright as well. So,
I see. Okay.
but you can, and that helps people when you explain it to them, because they say, am I overreacting? And of course you're not overreacting. You're acting in your way. That you don't have to act in the way that someone else would act. You act as you want to act, not the way someone else wants you to act. So you take charge of your life, you know?
Yeah, because normally we act, I mean, I used to act like I expected other people, how I thought other people expected me to act. For years, I was like that.
Absolutely.
It's not like they expected that. I thought that's what they're expecting me.
thought
It's even
they did,
worse.
yes. Yeah, absolutely. And that's all around the eyebrow area and that's all where we get sort of our feelings of guilt and things like that come up, because we say, oh, I'm going to go and buy a new telephone, and oh God, if I was doing that, you know, what would my mother say if I'm spending all of this money on a new telephone? Or what would my wife say? You know, we have to give ourselves reasons for doing things instead of just saying, I want a new telephone.
Yeah.
That's it. We go for a very complex way of looking at it.
Yeah. So, you know, there are different kinds of face reading, I think. So did we talk about what kind of face reading you learned and why?
I learned the type of face reading that is more used or was used in, let's say, the ancient Semitic world, the ancient Arab world, where it's to tell the personality from the features themselves. There is the Chinese version, there's Mian Xiang, there is the British Victorians also had a system, the American judicial system as well. They have a system as well. The Italians, the Swedes, you'll find that every culture in the world had some form of face reading, especially the ancient Greeks.
Mm-hmm.
The ancient Greeks loved it. And you will read stories about Socrates and Plato, Aristotle, where they was very much into knowing somebody by looking at them. And a lot of the quotes that are in the philosophies, they attribute themselves to face reading in one way or another by knowing the personality.
So why did you learn this particular one, the Semitic, Arab, Middle Eastern?
It was an opportunity that someone offered to teach me, and I took the opportunity. I was already on the path of, let's just say, learning. I'd learned a martial art from a Chinese man, and then he passed me on to someone who taught me a Qigong from another Chinese man, and then I met this other guy who taught me the face reading. All of it was about understanding people. I just love to understand people. My mother is one of 11 children. My father is one of 12 children. And as a child, I was watching all of these aunts and uncles coming from the same parents and behaving so differently. It intrigued me. It really intrigued me. Why did someone behave so differently to others? And then when parents come to me and say, I treat my sons exactly the same, and I say, I very much doubt whether you do. You know, and then you express to them, you tell them how they behave, and then they realise that they're not behaving exactly the same.
Yeah.
You know.
Do you do readings on Zoom as well, or does the person have to be physically there?
Yes. Yeah, no. I do readings on Zoom. At the moment, I live in Romania at the moment, so I'm living in Romania. So and teaching in Romania. So I'm doing readings on Zoom with Canada, with the UK, with Hungary, people in Romania, people from other European states as well, because it's easy for me to see people online. I can get the gist of, I can see
As we
well as
saw
you've noticed,
just now with
as we
me.
saw earlier
Yeah.
on, pretty sort of accurate, you know.
Yeah.
Then sometimes at the moment with the pandemic, it's not been so easy because, you know, people had to adjust to going on Zoom, but teaching on Zoom is so easy because we can teach bigger groups. They don't have to leave their house. It's more comfortable for them. They feel more at ease by learning, and it's such a great platform to
Yeah.
teach with.
Amazing. And also, you're not. You don't have to only read English speakers. You could read anyone, I guess. Yeah. As long as they can communicate a little bit in English and understand what you're saying.
As long as they can communicate a little bit in English and understand it. We do have people usually that in Romania. I have my partner, and she does the translations as well. She is also a face reader and teaches as well. So it's absolutely ideal. We have people, as I say, in Hungary and Canada. They all speak English because, fortunately for me, because I'm not good with other languages. I admit it. I'm not. It's just a psychological block. I should be better, but I'm not. But I will endeavour to do so. But I do understand the face. So people sometimes are saying things I'm watching, and I understand what they're saying.
Yeah.
So
amazing.
It's very interesting. Yeah, it
amazing.
Is very interesting.
There's something you said. You say that the reading helps the person understand parts of the personality that he didn't realize before, and why did they manifest? So can you give examples of that?
Well, that was what I said earlier on about being irritated by the mother. That's a part of that personality. Okay. But also,
maybe another example.
Let's look at something else. Let's just say someone who doesn't like spending money, for instance. Okay, they don't like spending money. That can be seen on the face. It's on the nose, actually. So what actually happens is when you explain to them that they've been taught to hold on to the money for a rainy day because they never know when they're going to need it, then they are mean to themselves as well as to others. When you explain that to them, because they are aware of it, they know that they're doing it, but they just don't know why. But if you say to them, because your parents had a very difficult situation and they were saying to you, don't spend your money, keep your money. You may need it one day, because that was their situation. They pass that down, and then the person is keeping money unnecessarily because they may be good earners, they may be wanting to spend their money, they may want to live a more luxurious lifestyle.
So the thing is, so a person knows he's stingy or not. I'm talking about a situation where a person comes to you and he's not aware of something that manifested within him, and you say to him, well, by the shape of your eyelashes, I can see that you are someone that is not honest with himself about something, something he didn't know. And he's like, me? I'm not on. Or you have this kind of suppressed core belief that you have a low self-esteem. And he's like, I didn't know that. You know what I mean?
Yes, a lot of people come to me and I say, really, one of the best examples is to say, you really do not know yourself. And they say, oh, of course I do. I know everything about myself. And then I start to say to them, did you realize that as a child that you hid away from your family? And they say, no, I never hid away from my family. And you say, okay, so you never went to your room and was reading on your own? Yes, I used to do that. So that means that you wasn't with your family. Yes, that's true. And then what happened when you went to university? Did you go out and party with everybody? No, I stayed in my dorm and I was studying. And now what I'm saying to you is, you don't know why you did that. You don't know why you are hiding away from the public as such. No, I don't. And you say, because your parents were so fearful that you took on the fear of your parents, and that fear made you hide away, and it still makes you hide away now.
Now,
And
how
they
can you
say,
know the reason? How can you know the reason?
because when you read the combination of the features and you see where it comes from, you know that the parents have created it.
Mm,
You can see that on it. It is complex. I do agree. It's
crazy.
not something you learn in the first, let's just say, in the foundation levels of, or the what we call the alphabet of the face. But as you go on longer and you learn to link things together and you can see these things, people tend to realize that, yes, that's what they do, but they don't know why they do it. And then when you explain to them that the parents had so much fear for the life of the child, and then you say to them, can you ask your mother, for instance, was it a difficult birth with you? Was you sick after you was born? And immediately a lot of them say, yeah, that happened. And then you can say, well, you see, that's where the overprotection comes from. They didn't behave the same way with your brother or your sister. That's how they behaved with you, because they saw you as being unwell, sick.
Yeah.
That was then. It's not now.
Okay. So as a teacher, I mean, you obviously you've taught many people and you've seen many face readers. Can you tell if someone is a good, talented face reader, like someone who uses intuition in addition to the facts that he's learned, and he actually is really good at it?
Yes, you can. There are features that you can see where someone has got an ability to. It's like a hunger for learning it. Now, intuition is built through experiences. So the more experiences people are willing to have with the face reading, the more intuitive they become. The reason for that is that the brain remembers the experiences, and it takes those experiences and brings them back during the face reading. So it becomes easier and easier for someone. Having said that, you still have to put a lot of effort and work into doing the face reading, because there are so many components on the face. But yes, you can tell if someone has got a natural ability written towards it, because as a child they've sat and studied their family or studied other people, and yes, they do have a natural, let's just say, leaning towards being able to read people.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And I even think the more you do it, probably the better you get at it, because if you hear somebody telling you, opening up and telling you his story, and while he's telling you things that happened to him, you are looking at his face. So it's like
Absolutely.
and then if 10 different people say a similar thing and you notice the same facial feature, that becomes ingrained in you, and then you're better at recognizing it.
Absolutely. And on the other hand as well, when someone insists that they've behaved in a certain way and you can see they haven't, then you can challenge them and say, that's not true. And of course, they usually fight their corner, and then it's because of words. The explanation of it for some people is very important. The way that they see themselves is different to the way that others see them. When a simple explanation is, someone about 1 month ago wanted to go to, let's just say, a restaurant. And they wanted to choose the restaurant, and they wanted to go where they wanted to go. And this was during a reading, and he said, I don't know why they didn't want to go where I wanted to go. And I said, but were you sensitive to the way that other people wanted to be? And he said, of course I'm sensitive. And I said, no, you're not. You are insensitive in your decision making. And he said, well, what do you mean? And I said, well, did you take into consideration that you was going to, let's say, a meat-eating restaurant, and 3 of your colleagues are vegetarians? Well, of course not, because... And I said, yes, because you eat meat. And he was like, yeah, I didn't realise that.
But did you see something? So did you see something in his face which made you realize for sure that he's insensitive
for sure, 100%,
when taking decisions?
Yeah,
and you would never have given up. You would have fought that corner and said, no, you are like that no matter what. You have to understand what I'm telling you here.
Yes, it's just the way that you explain it to them, because because you have to remember that all people are sensitive, all
Yeah,
people are, and if you strike the wrong part of them, then that sensitivity comes through. So yes, you have to have let's just say, an ability to explain it to
I see.
people.
What about clairvoyance? Are face readers clairvoyant?
Personally, I'm not, and I'm not going to say that no face readers are clairvoyant, but I think clairvoyancy is another attribute that people have. Um, I personally am not clairvoyant, although I have been accused on so many occasions of saying, it's never on my face. You've never seen that on my face. You must have. Have you spoken to my mother? Have you spoken to my brother? And of course, I don't know your mother. I don't know your brother, and they become suspicious, And they say, "Oh, no, you must be clairvoyant." And when I sit and explain in detail how I know it, still they want it to be a little bit clairvoyant. Okay, now, and that's not saying that there are not face readers who are that are not clairvoyant. There must be some that are clairvoyant. Um, However, I find it very, let's just say, for myself, not for others, for myself, I want to be as correct and as precise as I possibly can. After 27 years, I'm not saying that I am 100%. I'm saying that I can get to 97, 98%.
Yeah.
If you're 100%, then you're not human. You
Yeah.
are not human. So and we have good and bad days as well.
97% is very accurate. And
Yes.
how do you teach face reading?
Well, we teach online. We teach on the Zoom platform, and what we do is we have a PowerPoint system that we use to go through every part of the face. And then what we do is we put in little quizzes and little tests as we're teaching as well, to make sure that people are getting the base of what we're learning, the alphabet. They're learning each letter, as we call it. And then after that, we do practice evenings with people. And then if they decide they want to go further, they want to, let's go to the next level, that's what we teach as well on Zoom. We're in another city in Romania at the moment. We've just taught our first face-to-face group for 2 years. So it's been quite interesting as well. Obviously, there is a different energy that goes with that because we are all in the room together. Mm-hmm. But that doesn't change the way that we give the information. The information is still the same. People still enjoy it. There's also, let's just say, there is a spiritual side to it because there is an energetic side to it as well, which is in a more advanced face reading perspective as well, and people do enjoy doing the meditations that we do as well. So but it's all scientific based. It's all because the ancient people, what they did was they took a subject and they tested it and studied it and they came up with these conclusions. The reason why people lost faith in face reading is because, let's just say, in the Middle Ages, they was accused of being witches and wizards and goodness knows what else. And of course, people were fearful of that, or it was against God's will and things like that. And it's because it was so accurate, so profound for people that people were scared of it. And even now, when they say to me, people say to me, "What do you do?" and I say I'm a face reader, the first thing they do is they hide their face. Or they really, or that cannot be true. And then after 5 minutes, they're, "What? Tell me more. Tell me more."
Yeah.
So
how long does it take to learn face reading?
To be honest with you, after you've done what we call the alphabet, people can go out and start testing it immediately. That's how you build this information up. But really, once you've started and you've learned that alphabet level. It takes, let's just say, 1 or 2 months to get used to it, and
Okay.
because you have to practice. You have to practice.
Pretty quick. It's not like 5 years.
It is quick. Yes, you know why? Because, Michael, we are doing it every day of our life. We are looking at people saying, "Oh, don't trust him, don't trust her. She's nice, he's nice." And it's in our culture when, there's these sayings, "Oh, don't trust a man with his eyes that are too close together, because you can't trust him because he's got beady eyes," or someone with big ears is always listening to gossip. There is elements of truth in these sayings. They've come from our old path, and you'll see in every culture these statements are made. And then, for instance, I know that in Israel that you have experts. You have experts that if you go through Israeli customs, definitely, I will assure you, there will be a face reading expert there.
Who knows if someone is carrying like 50 kilograms of heroin or something.
Exactly. They know, they're learned, they're taught to do this thing.
Okay.
These things.
Can you read your own face?
Yeah, absolutely. It's essential. It's essential that you do that, because people used to say to me, "What's the magic click?" And I would say, it's being honest with your own face, to look in the mirror and to see what's there. But most people look in the mirror and they criticize themselves. They say, "Oh, I don't like this, and I don't like this, and I don't like that." No, this is being truthful. This is being truthful and saying, yes, you are kind, but you're stubborn. You do make decisions quickly, but you're introverted. I did this with myself. I had to look and I still do it on a daily basis. I will go and see something and think, that's changing. Why? Because we change. We change all of the time. Our circumstances change, we change.
I see. Wow. What can I say? It was so interesting and fascinating, and I could go on talking to you forever. But we finished the questions, and I'd like to ask you to convey a message, give a message to our viewers, something directly to them from the bottom of your heart and soul. Stephen, Paul, go ahead, please.
Okay, thank you very much. I say that humanity has a choice at the moment. To be more human is to be more forgiving and more understanding than ever before. It will change our society. So please, try and understand before you judge.
Amazing. Absolutely fascinating, wonderful, brilliant. I enjoyed every second of this interview, and all I can say is thank you very much.
Thank you, Michael, for the opportunity.
Thank you, and good luck in Romania and with all the face reading. Thank you. And to our lovely viewers, that was the amazing face reader, and I'm sure you enjoyed yourself as much as I did. All his details are going to be shown underneath the interview. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.